What's up, weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here with another installment in the never-ending saga that is the wheels of my off-road Sportster, the Dirtster ODB Project Plan B, baby. We finally, I think, have a solution that's gonna work for me. It's only one half of the solution, but the half of the solution's better than none. I sent out my stock hubs. Well, they weren't stock hubs, they were TC Bros hubs. I sent them out and I had them laced up to Excel rims. These are nice aluminum Excel rims here. They've got these spokes on them, completely stainless steel. Where I was having the problem is I was breaking it down here, right near the hub. All three spokes that I've broken have been down there. So these are actually, if you can see here, way thicker down here, and then they taper up to be slightly smaller above it. So you get a lot of extra strength down here. I said this is only one half of the solution. The other half of the solution, because I'm breaking them on the rear wheel, is suspension that's actually set up for my weight. One of the real problems I have is I'm running Burley brand stilettos, which couldn't really recommend them. But what happens is if you're actually riding something off-road and you weigh as much as I do, weigh 300 pounds, over 300 pounds if I'm being honest, you need suspension that's set up for your weight, especially when you're already on a bike that weighs almost 600 pounds. And on top of that, carrying camping gear and supplies and everything else that goes along with it. So the rear wheel is taking a beating. You know, I'm just putting the rear wheel with spokes through way more abuse than it was ever intended to go through. I've also got some Race Tech rear shocks on the way that have long travel suspension, the same length as the Burley brand. Combined with that and the thicker spokes, we're gonna be A-okay. And I know we're gonna be okay because literally I ride my KTM around. I've done, you know, 2 full seasons in a row of hair scrambles and never broken a single spoke on that thing. But it has Race Tech suspension that's set up for my weight. Finally, the saga is over. You know, this would really, if I just, you know, stepped away from the table and ate a couple less ho-hos and donuts and Reese's Pieces with the pretzels in them, those are my favorites. So anyway, if I had a few less of those and a couple less hamburgers, this really wouldn't be an issue. So this is probably, if you weigh like a normal weight, like 180 pounds or something like that. I'm 5'12 and a half, so you know, I should weigh like 180 pounds or something like that, but I don't. Anyway, if you weigh a normal weight, this probably won't be an issue. If you're a big guy like me, it's gonna be an issue. If you'll remember, I cut my old hubs out to send off to get relaced by Buchanan Spokes. That's who did those up. They came highly recommended. I just go, hey, you know, we don't have to unlace these. We can just cut them out because I'm not using the spokes again. You know, you can reuse them, but I'm not using them, just cut them out. And someone who must have known my 3rd grade teacher just goes in the comments and goes, I just have a question. Why did you cut the spokes out before removing the tire? Because it's so much easier to remove the tire if you have the hub in there. I'm just wondering why you did this, and maybe there's some reason. I'm like, holy crap, dude. Holy rhetorical question, Batman. I was probably really rude to him, which is unfair because he was right. What have you been talking to Mrs. Farnsworth, my 2nd grade teacher? Like, what's going on here with these rhetorical questions, man? I felt like a kid who says, can I go to the bathroom? And they go, I don't know, can you? And I just responded, you know why I cut all those spokes out before I removed the tire and took the hub out, even though it's harder to take the tire off afterwards? You know why I did that? Because I didn't freaking think about that. I didn't think about that. So now instead of using a tire machine at the ride factory to take the tires off because there's no hub in them anymore, I have to use tire irons. So yes, life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid. So in the how-to instructional video I watched on how to get a tire off with spoons instead of a tire machine, because I've never done it before, they said you can use your bench vise to break the bead. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if that works. Without ruining the tire, hopefully. They said some people just run them over with their truck, but this is a pretty thin tire. I mean, I guess I could do it because I'm not really worried about the rim. I mean, I'm gonna keep the rims because there's nothing wrong with them. You know, and I may come a day where I'm like, oh, I'm really glad I cut those rims. But as of right now, I don't have a use for them. But still don't want to ruin the rims. I don't want to ruin the tires either. I'm actually more worried about the tires right now than in the rims because I want to reuse the tires. There we go. That worked. Cool. That worked actually like a champ. Very cool. Let's give this the old GED try. I do have tire irons, even though I've never actually used them before. How-to I watched said apply dish soap liberally. So I'm going full Gorbachev with this here, all right? I don't want anything fighting me. I've also heard that specifically these tires are harder to get off. The Shinkos are harder than a lot of other tires to get off. I don't know if they've been drinking too much the night before, maybe a little booger sugar, maybe some antidepressant meds, but they're harder to get off. Okie dokie. The way they described it, it sounds fairly straightforward. Just get in here, grab that lip with this guy right here, and bend it out. Golly, dude. Like I said, so straightforward. Now, go down a little bit and get another piece of it. Well, I'm saving these rims. I don't think this is gonna break the rim, but I will tell you, if you're looking to not scratch your rims, you're gonna scratch your rims. There we go. There's another piece. Ooh, it's gonna be harder than I thought it was gonna be, and I already thought it was gonna be pretty hard. Jesus Christ. Now that one's all the way over there. Definitely tell it's something that takes a little bit of practice. That's why I did it. That's why I cut the hubs out. I wanted to practice taking a tire off with spoons. Obviously, Mrs. Farnsworth. So obvious, I can't believe it. You know, obviously, I need practice doing this. All right, once you got that first piece off, it seems pretty easy. I say before I have the whole thing off. Oh yeah, all right, all right. Note to self, carry a little soap with you on the trail in case you gotta do this in the middle of nowhere. Or WD-40, I guess, which you should have anyway. One side, now bleeding from the spoke. Let's make sure we go full Gorbachev on this side too. We don't have any problems. See if this side treats me as good. And I was bitching about the other side, but it wasn't that hard. I've got to assume that this side will probably be a little bit harder. It doesn't help that my dumb ass who freaking fell the spokes off, so they're now just like a trap down there, a deadly sharp obstacle. I've already cut myself once. Let's try it. Try it. I gotta take a break. I'm bleeding. I am completely saturated in sweat, and I'm pretty sure I ruined this tire because I think I'm pretty where it sets the bead. I think I ripped it getting it off, but it is off one way or another. Ruined, I think, but off. I win? Yeah, I win. Well, boys and girls, I would say after that fiasco, it's definitely time to go take a motorcycle ride. Motorcycle, scooter, ride, delivery, dropping off some Brap Star packages. Yeah, we can get two birds stoned at once. That was an intensely frustrating experience. I don't think I've ever been angry on a tiny little 125, okay? Delivering these packages, knowing that everyone out there ordered them, that everyone out there is wearing their Brap Star gear, freaking that just makes me feel good, man, okay? Can't be mad about that. And I wasn't even mad at freaking changing the tire. Mad isn't the right word. It was what we'll call a character building experience. And it's exactly what I get for not thinking before I bust out the angle grinder. What I get is a character building experience, okay? And let me tell you, I've got so much character that next time I do something like this, I'm gonna think really hard about Mrs. Farnsworth, my second grade teacher, before I start just cutting things apart with my grinder. You know, they'll just let anybody have a grinder, okay? You don't have to have a license or anything. You just go into Home Depot, buy a grinder, and cut your whole motorcycle in half. Nobody's stopping you. Just go ahead, live your life. That's called freedom, baby. The freedom to just ruin everything with a $40 grinder from Home Depot, man. You can do that. That is available to you. That's true freedom, okay? True freedom. Now, consequences. We have the freedom to experience consequences too. I don't think we'll ever be free from those. I tell you, dude, if you've been a fly in the wall watching me struggle with them tires, had to have been better than reading the funny papers, all right? That's some Saturday morning cartoons right there. Old shade tree surgeon sweating his ass off, trying to get that freaking tire off. Holy moly. Luckily, the Ride Factory boys up there told me I should be fine. I didn't actually ruin them, which is good. I really didn't want to spend the money on new tires. So like I said, not mad. a character building experience. Now, you want to talk about mad? The USPS, when I show up with this big old load of packages that you got ordered from brapstar.com, they're mad. And I carry this entire box inside without spilling your packages everywhere. So far, the answer is no. Missing anyone? No. Got them all. Huh?
Manifest?
Selected. Stage left.
I got away with it again. I'll never be foiled. Better luck next time, USPS. I laugh into the night. Join me, brothers and sisters, Brap Stars across the country, and let us expel an evil laugh. As always, huge thanks to everyone out there who supports me, Shaylisi, and Brap Star. You guys are freaking awesome. As always, it's not just about supporting us. I want everyone to feel like they got their money's worth, that they received a good product for the money that they spent on it. My biggest goal with Brap Star is to make sure that everybody who receives a product from Brap Star, whether it's a patch, a pin, a hoodie, a t-shirt, a rolling tray, one of Shaylisi's gas caps, whatever it is, whatever you happen to get from Brap Star, I want you to feel good about the money you spent on it. I want you to look at that. I want you to wear it. I want you to put it on your bike. I want you to roll up some left-handed cigarettes in it, and every time you look at it, I want you to go, that was worth the money I spent on it. That's my one goal. That was just what the doctor ordered, just what my body needed. Just needed to go out there and do a couple evil deeds, do some foul work, dirty deeds done dirt cheap on the 125. I feel refreshed. Well, while I wait for the Ride Factory to do what took me forever, much easier, I still got a bunch of stuff I need to do around this garage, including fix another mistake. It seems like I'm always fixing my mistakes. You would think that meant I learned something from them, but I just keep making them. Well, you see, when I replaced the lines on this Honda GL500 for Dr. Girlfriend, and I put steel braided lines on there, which I thought were going to be much better, and I'm sure they will be much better. Oh, what I didn't do was use the new banjo bolts, because the old banjo bolts were easier to put in. Well, the old banjo bolts didn't line up with the new line's holes. Now the brakes don't work at all. So let's pull this all back apart and put the actual banjo bolts in and not the old ones that came off of it. Stupid. Always use the stuff it gave you. I just was like, this is easier. Well, it was easier because it doesn't work. Oh, you fucking bastard. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, that's a record for a Harbor Freight lift. I don't think I've had this one for, gosh, probably less than 6 months. And I just go to pump it up and it stops pumping and there's a big puddle underneath the jack down there. Damn, dude. Now, that's all right because there's a company that sells a new bottle jack for Harbor Freight lifts that does way better than those. I forget the name of the company. I'll have it linked down below. But I put one on another Harbor Freight lift I have. It works like a champ. But holy moly, dude. That didn't take long, did it? Damn, dude. Less than 6 months of use and that sucker's just sprung a leak. It's all over. Well, this video turned from a fix a motorcycle video to let's fix this jack video real quick, didn't it? Anyway, the company I was thinking about was called Redline, and that's the one that I replaced the bottle jack on the other one. But I need this lift to work today. So Harbor Freight is actually going to replace it. And fortunately, they do have one in stock. So I'm going to roll up to Harbor Freight and give another bottle jack another try on this thing. But come on, man. 6 months later and it's pissing hydraulic fluid all over the ground. That's pretty late. Well, it's the next day, unfortunately. It's unfortunately the next day because I didn't film anything else yesterday because it took a very frustrating turn. This Harbor Freight lift, of which I've bought a couple of them, has apparently been upgraded in design. Now, the old ones, that company I was talking about earlier, you could buy a replacement jack for it that was by Redline Design. Those things didn't break ever. Now, I wasn't gonna get one of those. I was just gonna get a Harbor Freight one because I needed it right now. Well, you can't even buy the Redline Design with this one. This is an updated design. It's different. The red line works for the old style lift, not the new ones. But oh no, it doesn't matter though, because I called Harbor Freight. They said, no problem, man. We have a replacement jack for that in stock. Well, they don't. They have a bottle jack, which is probably the same design, like internal design as the one that's in the lift, except this one, they said that yes, is a replacement for what I have, has this bottom on it, whereas this has a proprietary design that's made to work with this lift. And it is just completely broken. So basically what that's telling me is if you buy a $600 lift, which is still cheap for a lift, but you know, you get what you pay for. If you buy a $600 lift from Harbor Freight and one single thing breaks on it, that lift is broken. It's useless. You can't actually service it or fix it. It's just over. Pretty frustrating because I haven't had this thing for very long. I'm gonna go back up there and just grill these guys once again and be like, hey, like, is there seriously not a part number for this jack that I can order? I can't order this jack, just the jack. The only option is buy another $600 lift. Let's go find out. My hopes are not high. Well, I'm back from a very disappointing trip to Harbor Freight. Although a lot of trips to Harbor Freight are very disappointing. You know, I really want to rant and rail about how they don't sell a replacement pump for this. Like, you cannot buy another jack apparently. So I went up there and I said, somebody sold me this jack. They said it was a replacement jack. It's obviously not. The person who was up there today, it seems like there's a different person there every day, said, oh yeah, no, that's not it. And they looked it up and said, no, we don't have a part number for that. Said, I just want to hear it out of your mouth. Is this a non-serviceable lift? And he said, yes, this is it. If you buy this lift, you cannot buy another jack for it. Now, nothing's really non-serviceable. My next step is going to be to just pull that thing out, pull it apart, see if I can just replace the O-rings inside of it that it's leaking from. It looks like it's leaking out of the actual pump mechanism. It's just kind of squirting out. Hopefully I can replace an O-ring and I haven't wasted $600 on this lift. You know, I want to be mad. I want to be like angry. And I guess I am kind of mad, but mostly just at myself. It's one of those things where, whose fault is this? I could come back here and go, Harbor Freight, they're terrible, and they sold me this terrible lift, and can you believe that they don't stand behind their product and that it's not serviceable, and that I go in there and blah, blah, I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty believable, man. It's Harbor Freight. The lift was $600. What do you expect? What it really is me not spend. I mean, the next cheapest lift is so expensive though. You're just going to be spending like $1,500. So it is quite a big price difference, but again, you get what you pay for. And who I'm really mad at is me for cheaping out and buying the Harbor Freight lift instead of buying something that was worth the money. This is just me all the time. Whenever I'm just so angry, I'm just like, and I'm mad. Usually I'm just mad at myself for, once again, making a poor decision. But I filled it back full of mineral oil, and I can probably pump it up at least one more time before it squirts it all out, because it only squirts it out on the pump. It actually still holds the lift up. So let's still see if we can fix Dr. Girlfriend's hydraulic system on the brakes. Like, man, just hydraulic systems, I'm not winning today. Not winning at all. And whose fault? It's my fault. It's my fault. Just like the tire was my fault because I cut out the hub before without thinking. I'm covered in scratches now from pulling that off. Anyway, yeah, like I said, whenever I get mad, I'm just so angry. I just look around and I really want to blame someone that's not me. But at the end of the day, when I get mad, it's because I messed up. So I can't really blame Harbor Freight. Life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid. It's also more expensive. Times like this, man, I just really wish I had somebody else to blame. But unfortunately, it's me, baby. I'm the only one. And even when there is somebody else to blame, if you're in charge of something, you know, they say shit rolls downhill, but if you're the shit rolls downhill kind of guy, I think you're doing it wrong, man. It's about personal responsibility, taking the blame, you know. Credit where credit's due. Take some credit when it happens, but that means you gotta take the blame when the blame's ready too. And there's almost nothing that's gone wrong that you guys have seen on this channel that hasn't been anybody's fault but mine. Hey, baby, it's like old Waylon says, the devil made me do it the first time. The second time, I did it on my own. Can we get one single lift out of this? Can we get Dr. Girlfriend's bike back on, well, not back in action, just in action. It's been in action since it's been my bike, but not since it's been her bike. Well, that's about all we got. That's better than nothing. You know, I shouldn't be complaining because at the end of the day, most people are working without a lift. The vast majority of people are. I'm just a spoiled, rotten little brat because I have a lift now. And now all of a sudden I'm just like, what do you mean I can't use my lift? I can't use my lift? Now I'm just like crying about it. This is ridiculous. You got Whiskey Chaser working on the side of the road in the street in New York City. And I'm going like, I'm complaining about the fact that my lift is broken and I gotta bend over. I need to check myself. Oh, well, I guess the old hardware will work just fine. Again, nobody's fault but mine. You'll notice I used the proper hardware in the places that was very easy to get to. Wow. How great of me. Okay. This is something I should have realized when I was first putting it together. So obviously these ones were way easier to put in because they're so much longer. And when you're reaching your hands up there, having a longer bolt with more threads on it, gosh, doesn't that make it easier? But since it's so much longer, the holes didn't line up. The difference in these two bolts, my camera will focus. Is anything going to work today? Look, everything's here. It's like, come on, baby. Now I'm gonna start blaming Canon for all my problems. Is there no one who's safe from me trying to blame somebody else? Barely any threads right there, which is gonna be fine. That's okay. More than enough threads to get in there, but definitely hard to get in when you're trying to freaking do it upside down, sideways, you know what I mean? What can we say, baby? You want a job done right? Better do it twice just to make sure. Once to find out, twice to make sure. Shade tree surgeon, that's our motto. Shade tree surgeon, making mistakes and looking like an idiot online so you don't have to since 2006. Let's try to bleed these brakes one more time. Well, what better way to test ride a Honda than by pissing off everybody at the USPS with more Brap Star packages. This bike has many compartments, but I don't think any one compartment is big enough to hold everything. Let's see, will this fit in here? Well, these guys just fit in here. All right, that's gonna work just fine. Now, will the bike work just fine? Yeah, it'll work just fine. I rode this damn thing across the country. Why wouldn't it? Oh, I better put some gas in it. Why wouldn't it ride like a champ, baby? Hondas never die. But sometimes they're sketchy enough to kill you. I probably should have checked these brakes before I just started sending it. Okay, they stop. All right. Come on now. If I'm not ready to trust my own work, I can't really expect Dr. Girlfriend to trust it. Still think I might have to. I'm going to see if it works its way out. I put some seafoam in it, which has seafoam ever worked to clear up a carburetor that's a little gunky? I don't know if it's ever actually worked. I feel like it's always like that last ditch, like, well, maybe I'll throw some seafoam in it and it'll clear the carburetor up so I don't have to take it apart. Seems like seafoam is just, its main ingredient is wishful thinking. This bike definitely still has just a little hitch in its giddy up around 5,000 to 7,000 RPM, and a bike that's as slow as this one does not need any hitches in its giddy up. That's what it needs. It just needs a fresh tank of the Stab and Grab's finest. Michelob Ultra. I'm trying to watch my figure, you know? Sometimes when I drink this Michelob Ultra, sometimes I'd rather be sober. I'm not very picky when it comes to my beer. I'll drink just about anything, but man, this stuff is terrible. Ooh, that back tire's bald, baby. And I just love like all the little compartments. I've even got two up here. So many places to hide all my little treasures. Don't get any pollen in there. Doesn't need any anything else holding it back. Stab and Grab juice. Got some sea foam in there. Active ingredient, wishful thinking. This is for sure gonna clear those carburetors right up. Right? Right, why wouldn't it? We get to turn the reserve off because Honda, in their infinite wisdom, created a touring bike that doesn't have a gas gauge. Dude, I know everyone's like, man, Honda's the best. And, you know, I love Honda too, but Honda makes some dummy moves every once in a while. Imagine my crushing disappointment when I pull away from the gas station and the problem's not immediately fixed. I'm going to have to pull those carbs. But it is, besides that, it's running just fine. And I'm sure it just sat with a little bit of gas in there in those carbs for long enough that it just it gets gummy, man. It's that corn gas. And whose fault is that? Yeah, exactly. You guessed it. That's kind of the theme of this video, isn't it? Yours truly, baby. Because I didn't turn the petcock off when I had it sitting. Oh, it feels a little better. Well, stab and grab stuff is doing its thing, letting it work. All screaming, probably like, I don't know, how much horsepower could this thing possibly make? Like 40 horsepower or something like that? It certainly doesn't feel like it. This bike feels freaking slow. Am I allowed to do this? Oh, being allowed to and doing, well, those live in separate places, don't they? It definitely feels like something's wrong, like it's got a flat spot there. But I will tell you, even since I rode this thing home from California, I remember the very first time I rode another CX500, because I'd never ridden one before, and I was surprised by how much peppier it felt. So this might have had an issue already. I'm not really sure. Something's definitely up. That's not the way it should be accelerated around 5,000 RPM. Oh, you know, it's not that bad. Life ain't that hard. At least I don't have to work at the USPS in a world where Shade Tree Surgeon exists. That sounds awful. Oh, they're getting off easy today, though. Yeah, that definitely doesn't feel right. Either the carbs are... And now that I'm on it, I'm remembering it was like that before, I think. Now, once you get it over like 6,000 or 7,000 RPM, it's fine, but there's definitely a flat spot in there. For all I know, it could have jetting that's still for... The original owner was from Colorado, then he moved to California. So for all I know, this could still have like mile-high jetting on it or something, which wouldn't that mean it'd be running really rich? Or I really don't know. Either way, definitely got to check and see what's going on. And actually, I think that these jets are adjustable, where you could just turn a screw and adjust them for different altitudes. Other than that stuff, man, this thing's a freaking champion, baby. And we've got some good front brakes. Those work awesome. And speaking of Hondas, all you guys who are waiting for You Meet the Worst People on a Honda, that t-shirt that you got for donating over $100 to the raffle that was for Forgotten Angels, and the other Silver Wings, your t-shirts, by the time this video comes out, your shirts should be in the mail. I'm literally picking them up from the printers tomorrow. The shirt that will ensure that I most likely never, ever, ever get a sponsorship from Honda America, but that's all right, baby. We really don't do sponsorships around here anyway. Huge apologies that it took me so long to get those things made, but those were actually my personal contribution to Forgotten Angels and the raffle. So when we first did that raffle tickets weren't really moving, and I was kind of freaking out because we were giving away a Hummer, which a lot of people were excited about, but not really that many people were excited about. So I started freaking out, and then we managed to luck out because Jason from Sugar Tree Farm hit me up, wanted to donate the Silver Wing. I said, awesome, that'll be another raffle giveaway prize, you know what I mean? And then he came up with a second one. I was like, even better. You know, there wasn't that much of an interest because these bikes are cool and they've definitely got a niche following, but you know, it's not like we were giving away a Lowrider S with a 131, so they weren't really bringing in that many tickets. You guys know I'm passionate about Forgotten Angels, so I wanted to do something that would make sure we move some more tickets for Forgotten Angels, because these raffles, that's a big part of how Forgotten Angels survives, man. So I wanted to do my part besides just asking all y'all to do your part, because it takes sacrifice, man. Just like David sacrificed his Kawasaki Concourse for a raffle, you know, his favorite bike he's ever owned. It takes sacrifice, man. So I said, for anyone who orders $100 worth of raffle tickets or more, I will send you Meet the Worst People on a Honda, the t-shirt.
Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the flamethrower. That kids love this one.
Merchandising. Anyway, I was like, okay, that ought to move some more raffle tickets. Well, it worked, and we ended up moving a bunch more raffle tickets. More than I expected, actually. We ended up doing, for those two Silver Wings and the Hummer, we ended up doing something like $130,000. So a lot of those were people donating over $100 after I said I was going to be giving away a t-shirt. Well, that'll teach me to keep my big mouth shut. Like I said, this was my contribution to Forgotten Angels and to the cause. This was not something that I expected Forgotten Angels to pay for, to go like, oh, cool, the t-shirts, man, we'll pull that out of the raffle money. No, that's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to sacrifice something. But what happened is it ended up being almost $4,000 worth of t-shirts. So I've had a lot of people wondering where they were. They're just like seeing me do pre-orders and selling other shirts and doing all this other stuff and being like, please buy stuff from Brap Star, which you guys have been doing, which I really appreciate, because I've been saving up enough money to buy $4,000 worth of t-shirts and not make any money back on it. And it's okay. I'm not trying to tell a sob story here. Like, it's fine. That was my contribution. And, you know, know, it was a few more shirts than I expected, that's for sure. But you know what? When I say I'm going to do something, I freaking do it. And I wanted to do this. I wanted to make a contribution. And if I said I was going to send a shirt to everyone who donated over $100, well, by God, I'm going to send them a shirt. So I had to get those shirts made, and let me tell you, I don't know if you've just got $4,000 lying around, but I don't. So, you know, I went through a bunch of different stuff. I originally thought I was going to sell this bike, but then like when I looked at it, I was like, oh, I need so much stuff I need to do with it. And then Dr. Girlfriend ended up wanting to learn how to ride. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to sell this bike. One thing led to another. It just takes a while to save up that kind of money. But thanks to everybody who's purchased a t-shirt from Brap Star or a sticker or whatever, we've been able to raise enough money to go ahead and get those shirts printed, and they will be heading out to you as a reward for you sacrificing your, because that's what the whole thing is. Like, I got to make sacrifice. I can't ask you guys to donate to a raffle unless I'm willing to donate to that raffle too. Now, I can't buy raffle tickets, but I can come up with prizes. I can donate my own time, my own money, and my own stuff to these raffles, because it'd be a whole bunch of bullshit if I asked you guys to donate to this stuff and I was just like, yeah, cool, man, I'm just gonna like do good stuff with other people's money. Like, nah, man, that don't fly in my book. I got to be willing to do something too. That's the whole thing. I don't know. There's probably some people out there who think I make money on these raffles or think that somehow I'm getting paid to do this. I'm not. I don't get paid. I've never taken a single dollar from the raffles. Neither has David. Neither does Burt King from Burt's Barracuda. Nobody takes money from these things, man. This is all, like I said, I'm sitting here crying about, oh, boo freaking who, man. I got to come up with $4,000, which I am crying about that. That was a hard pill to swallow, but I still feel good about it. I'm glad I did it. And it makes me feel good to be able to contribute, you know? Makes me feel good that the business is doing well enough, brapstar.com is doing well enough that we can contribute to this. I also partially use money we make from Patreon. If you're a member of the Patreon, you've seen me talk about this in there. Basically, the main thing that we use Patreon for is for Forgotten Angels raffles. Like, we buy bikes with the money, it helps put on the camp out. It's just all money that gets used and goes back into Forgotten Angels. And before we spend Patreon money, we sit down and we talk about it with the guys in the Discord and stuff like that. So if you're in the Discord, you already knew about this. I just want to extend a gigantic thank you to everybody who donated more than $100, and to everybody who just bought one raffle ticket too. If all you did was buy one ticket, dude, I freaking love you, man. Yeah, that's still helping out the cause in such a way that you have no idea how much it helps out. You know, everyone, we're all working on all this together. Everybody in the Patreon, everybody who goes to brapstar.com and supports our business. And like I said, I'm not trying to, that ain't a pity thing. Come support our business and feel bad for me and buy something. I want you to love what you get. I want you to get something from brapstar.com and go, that's money well spent. And if you feel like it's not money well spent, you freaking hit me up, man. I won't stand for that. I ain't trying to sit here and sell this, to be the kind of YouTuber who sells merch that they don't care about or that they never see. There's a reason that my stuff takes longer to get out. You know, I ain't Buddy Bezos. I don't have 2-day shipping. There's a reason that my stuff takes longer. There's a reason that my stuff goes through USPS. That's because I hold every single shirt in my hand before it goes out, and every single person on the front of that package, I say their name out loud. I ain't trying to sit here, treat like some kind of Teespring or you know, direct to the consumer garment where I never see the product. It just gets printed off and sent to you for some freaking factory somewhere. I ain't trying to do it like that, and I don't do it like that. I ain't even like I'm not trying to do it like that. We don't do it like that. We care about our designs. They're limited edition. I care about every single shirt that goes out, and if you get one, heaven forbid it does happen, if your package gets lost, please reach out to us. We have an email address on the site. Hit us up and let us know. And if you're dissatisfied with it for literally any reason, tell me. I will replace it or give you your money back. I 100% mean that. I've done it before. I don't catch everything. One time I sent out a hoodie to Canada and it had a few stitches in the wrong place, and the person sent me an email about it. And you know what I did? I refunded their money and I sent them out a new hoodie. Now, that's what I mean. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, poor me. That's how much it means to me, is I'm going to send a whole nother one out and refund your money. I freaking really mean it when I say I want you to love every single thing that you've gotten from Brap Star. I want you to know that I believe in it. And if you are dissatisfied with it, I'm going to make it right. That's how every business should be run, to be honest with you. But I don't run every business. I just get to run this little corner of it. So I sure as hell am gonna run mine right. Which leads us right into this. So now that I finally have, because I didn't want to put it up as a pre-order, now that I finally have You Meet the Worst People on a Honda, now that I finally have those heading out to everybody who deserves them because they donated over $100 to charity, they deserve their t-shirts. Now that those are heading out, I can finally actually offer up a pre-order for everybody else. So if you want your very own You Meet the Worst People on a Honda shirt, you weren't able to get in on that special deal in the last raffle, they are now up on brapstar.com. They're available for pre-order, and we only run our pre-orders for a few days. So you'll see this video come out, and you'll have a few days after this to jump on that pre-order, and then it's going to be closed, all right? And that's because we're trying to get them printed as fast as possible. I don't like to have people waiting around. That happened to us one time, and I vowed to never let it happen again. So if you're out there, riding season starting soon, man, let them know what a scumbag you really are. There might be some nice people on Hondas, but trust me, us weirdos, we're starting to outnumber them. All right, better get back to the fort. We got a live stream tonight because we're giving away a fishing trip. Although, if you're watching this video right now, we already gave away the fishing trip. And a little bit too late for that one. Maybe you're the person who won it. If you won it and you're watching right now, congratulations. But I don't know who it is yet. Let's go find out. Okay, and finally, we're actually doing what we started this video about, which is getting those new wheels on my Sportster. My Sportster with the 1250 big bore kit and the bugle heads. I want to ride this bike. I really like this bike. I literally got to put like a couple hundred miles on it. I haven't even broken this motor in yet. So yeah, let's finally, at the end of this video, after all this other stuff, let's finally get this thing back together. Yes, I have two different pairs of gloves because I can only find one lefty and one righty. Oh, you son of a bitch. Just a little bit of the forbidden cherry topping here. I'm ready to throw this wheel on. That's wrong. Oh, I'll take two. And now the struggle begins. I've never really done this easily before. Yeah, there we go. Hell yeah. That's what we like to see, baby. Unfortunately, I don't have my new chain in yet, but I really want to ride my bike, even though I'm just going to change it out later. Just go ahead, I got this old chain lying around. I'm going to throw this on here for now, but you can see from the kinks in it like that right there, this chain has definitely seen better days. Oh, I thought I was going to use this chain. It ain't freaking long enough. What the hell? Oh, well, I guess we're kind of stuck right there, aren't we?
You know, I almost gave up. Can't have that, can we?
Yeah, we got one more place to try.
Cycles. I don't know why it don't come here more often. I actually know the guy who owns it, or at least his son. His son is running it now because he used to come into the dirty shame all the time. Small world, man.
Well, West Coast Cycles had exactly what I needed. We're back in business, baby. This thing is going to be running today. There we go. That should do it. This is what's called an X-ring chain. I don't know if that's any better, but it really sounds cool. It just makes it sound like it has special powers. The X-ring. unsurprisingly, with these much thicker spokes here at the base, I'm running into some clearance issues with this Brembo, so I'm gonna have to shave a little bit off the back of it with my flap wheel. Not really sure how much I can take off the back of this thing, but I guess we'll find out. Safety third. Pretty surprised if I got this sucker on the first try. As the old saying goes, you can take more off, but you can't put it back. Yeah, we're still hitting. Baby, we are back in action. Woo! Reunited, and it feels so good. God, I am glad to have my Sportster back. I freaking love this bike. I don't know about anybody sleeping under the bridge. Sorry, fellas. I don't know if you love it as much as I do, but right now, I'm in love. I really can't even get on this thing, dude. Just freaking cracking it open. The front wheel wants to lift right in the air. That thing is not even broken yet. I've got like 300 miles on it. After 500 miles, I'm gonna do an oil change, and then it's time to rip, baby. I got those new spokes. My new suspension isn't here yet, but it's on the way. I got new spokes. I'm confident in the wheels and tires now. I got a new chain on this thing. Freaking missed it, dude. It was such a kick in the dick after going through all those problems with the tires and flats and all that stuff. What a kick in the dick it was to freaking, like, on the way back from Orlando, not even going off-road, to experience that broken spoke. Unfortunately, it had probably had a crack in it already for somewhere and just let loose on the road, because it's not like we were doing anything crazy. I'll tell you, it's always nice to find success after perseverance too. I really wanted to give up, man. When I freaking pulled out that other chain, I was like, man, I really don't feel like it. I don't feel like, woo! I don't feel like continuing on. I wanted to give up so bad, but you know what I wanted even more badly, badder? You know what I wanted even badder than giving up? I wanted to ride my Sportster again. So even though I wanted to give up really bad because I just was like, felt very defeated, you know what? I was like, guess what? I'm riding this motorcycle tonight.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
I got it.
You know, you see a motorcycle and you love it. Motorcycles ain't a car, dude. It's got soul, dude. You don't want to see it go away. It's die. I dig it, man. I understand,
sit there, dude.
I understand, man.
Yeah.
So it's gonna go do some cool shit, man. That's for sure.
Take care of yourself.
All right, man. Hey, nice meeting you. You have a great day.
Yeah, do the same. Awesome. We'll keep in touch. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm ending this video with more Sportster stuff. Luckily, this one wasn't a failure, man. It's hard to find anything that's a failure about the price that Alex got on this bike. We are having more than one off-road Sportster. I'm not going to give too much away because you're going to have to go see what's up with this bike and what Alex paid for it on the Diplomat channel. That video should be coming out this Wednesday. He'll still have a video coming out today too on Sunday, but make sure you're subscribed to him because we're about to have dueling dirtsters, baby. I'm pretty stoked about this one. The Dipster! I freaking love it. Get that shit painted on the side, dude. All right, y'all. That's gonna do it for this one. Till next time.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree? Army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.